Hey, Clayton, it's so great to have you here with us today, just talking a little bit about yourself and who you are and what God's doing in your life. Why don't you start off, Clayton, by letting us know about yourself? Just tell us some things about who you are.
Well, I'm a retired Canadian Forces veteran. I'm a great grandfather, grandfather, father, uncle, nephew, son, uh, you know, uh, best friend to a lot of different people, dear friends, I should say.
Well, that's good. We know that you're a grandpa and a dad and a very caring dad at that too. So COVID has been a hard time for a ton of people. Uh, what are you looking forward to the most when the COVID restrictions are over?
I I still haven't I see my parents at least once a year. I haven't done that in 2020.
Yeah,
So traveling to New Brunswick, where my hometown is, and it's not just my parents, but I have children there as well, and brother and sister, and but mostly it's just to see my parents.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Family is so important during this time of COVID, and there's that old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So we get to see our families in a better way than we can right now. So
well, I mean, I miss my mom. I missed my mom when I left home when I was 17, turning 18, joining the military the first time around. And I joined, long story short, I got out, but then I got back in. And my mother is always saying to me, and sometimes you have to, follow your dreams. So that took me away from my hometown. And as I get a little older now, I seem to be missing my mother more. And,
mm, mm.
uh, she's very much an influence on who I am today, who I was earlier in life, and always important to me.
Yeah, and you're actually blessed to still have your mom around. I'm in a stage of life now where my mom has passed, and all I have of my mom now is memories and pictures. And I do agree. I hold them quite dearly. And in times like this during COVID, they do become very treasured memories and moments.
Well, I mean, I am truly blessed more than one way because I have another mother here that lives in my home, so my mother-in-law, and so we're not just it's not just mother-in-law and son-in-law. It's also we're good friends.
Yeah.
Have some good conversations. Like I said, especially nowadays when you're not really um, going out and socializing as much as you would prefer to. And I mean, and I take that aspect in that I still do things safely. I've always done safety, uh, been that type of person, but it's still about, you doing it, going out there and socializing in a proper context. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is great. This is great. Family, so important during this time. So, we're not allowed to do things and we end up staying in bed sometimes and it's hard to get out of bed. So what actually motivates you every day during this season and what gets you up in the morning?
well, um, family, really, that's what motivates me today. It's doing those little things that you can do, right? So one of my daughters, it's like the washing machine's not working right. It's making a big noise. So it was just a bearing. So it was like I went and I checked, and then she ordered the bearing. I replaced the bearing. It's just simple things like that. And so I have two daughters that live in Angus, right? So one daughter I was talking about is Tab. I call her Tabby. Her name's Tab, and she has 5 children now. So then the other daughter is one that I was watching my grandson just this past week. He's 4 years old, but actually he's my great grandson. Long story short. But yeah, I mean, it's today is a lot about family. When I was serving in the military, it was a lot about my career. A family was not number one. My career to do my job as a soldier was number one. And I didn't see, not that I wasn't a family man, but I was a family man after being a soldier. And 1 year, there's 365 days in a year, but 285 of those days I was away from home, like not even in Petawawa area. And this is more with with my late wife. And she's the one that was taking care of the family. But as I retired from the military, and now I come to the point that now family is number one. So it does motivate me. I'm not sure really what gets me up in the morning, because I'm not very much of a sleeper, so I just kind of eventually I get up because I just don't want to lay in bed, and sometimes it's just as simple as doing one thing, and then that one thing leads to something else, and then you're at the end of your day and you're going, oh, the day is over already.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. So if just letting people get to know you a little bit more, if you were going to do anything for a day, what would it be, Clayton? If you had your choice of anything, what would you do for a day?
I'd be doing the same thing I'm doing now. Maybe more social.
Yeah, maybe a little more.
That I'm not a person of thinking about what I didn't accomplish in the past. When I at a certain age or I'm always a person that I'm looking forward. So I suppose there's a lot of things that you could do, but the reality of life is it's really about what's going and happening in your future, not so much of what's already happened in the past. Yeah, I mean, just kind of doing the same thing. Trying to get in contact with family members or visiting family members that you don't keep enough actual physical contact with. My daughter, from New Brunswick, actually had moved up here to Hamilton in the summer, or just before the summer of last year, and I haven't actually gone to see her and her children. So so one day in the future, that's one of my other traveling plans. So.
It's very obvious in chatting with you that family is just playing a huge part of your life, and also helping support you through this whole this whole time of COVID. How does your faith actually connect with all of this stuff we've been talking about?
Well, my faith, I've had faith from when I was a child. Like my memories are kind of a little bit faded on that. I remember going to Sunday school. There was one particular church we went to that had a little bump in the cement floor downstairs, and I would always trip over that and end up having one of those little goose eggs in the corner of my head. I remember that. There's a favorite sister. So I grew up Catholic. So, Sister O'Rourke was her name. And in my teenage years, I had a lot of questions, and some of them weren't necessarily related to God and the church. But she was more than willing to sit down with me and give me some direction. And one of my things about faith is when I was 15, my appendix had ruptured, and so I was rushed to the hospital. Probably about a week and a half later, the doctors I got to the point that I had so much poison built up in my blood, or acute peritonitis, one of those fancy medical words. And they were saying there wasn't anything they could do for me. I was dying. And at that time in my life, it's my mother that tells me the story, because she remembers it a lot more clearer than I do. But I talked to God. At least that's my interpretation at that time, and asked him to allow me to stay here on earth, and I will do great things in his name. And I've been doing great things in his name. I realize today so much more in the Christian view, which is where I'm at, and that how much the Lord has been in my life. Being in the military, being a soldier, pushing a lot of emotions away, trying to traverse your path as a soldier. But one thing I always thought about, and there was times during my career that when I was in need, that I would see Jesus. I would see his face, and or there was certain things, and but long story short is, at the end of my career, I had the last tour I did was over in Afghanistan, and there's a lot of ugliness involved being a soldier and doing your job, in a country like that. In 2006, we took over for the Americans as the aggressors. So there was a lot of hardship, a lot of different things happened, and it really made me think about my faith. And then I struggled for years trying to understand all of this guilt and shame, and sometimes it was consuming the anger, but it brought me to the doorsteps of Pine Woods, where I walked in the door, and this is the place I'm supposed to be. These are the people that are going to help me get through what's been going on in my life, and take all that mud out of the water so it can be more clear. And it's as I've said to you before, it's just unbelievable. Like, I don't understand, and it doesn't matter that I understand. It just, things are clearer. There's the concern for what's happening on Earth has become not as important to me as to what's happening in the Lord's kingdom. And but I've always felt that I've been meant to serve. Being the Canadian Forces was a calling, but in the Canadian Forces you served. And there's more than a few times that I put my faith ahead of my life to protect those that need the protection. And but it all still comes down to is serving, and I did that. Being in the military, a lot of people say, oh, I couldn't do that job. I couldn't be told what to do all the time. Well, I couldn't be told what to do all the time either, I guess. But I respectfully so, there's times when there's directions and orders and they don't match the policies and procedures, and or sometimes a lot of it is you would see something happen and some people would just turn their head away and say that's not my business, but it's always your business. It's always your business to make sure that you're responsible. There's the morals part of life, and nowadays I understand it's even it's what I was feeling and thinking then really is just following the Lord's grace in the best way you can. And
Amen. Amen.
and, I was that was my direction. My direction, that's where I need to go. I had some aggressive issues or whatever, as a teenager, and joining the military really was a big discipline. It actually allowed me to use the gifts that I have in a more positive direction, and that's what I'm continuing to do today. It's changed, of course. Now, being retired, I'm not a soldier, but it took me a few years to remind myself of that.
Yeah. Now you can be a soldier for Jesus full time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like to choose other words instead of soldier. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but I understand today. Like there was at one point part of the reason why I didn't stay and I retired from the military was I decided I didn't want to carry a rifle. But that kind of left me not understand, like, what am I supposed to use to ensure that you can stand up and protect people. Well, today I use the Bible, the words from the Bible.
Amen. 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 Well, Clayton, it's been great getting to know you and hearing your story of faith and your family and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for taking time out of your day to just open up and chat with us. So hope you have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, you have a great day as well.